Welcome to the Pulse of Boxing, featuring Rob Scott and Samad Haq. Live interviews, featured stories, art, culture, music, boxing news, and reviews. Powered by the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame.
This week's guest, we have Calvin Ford. Welcome to the Pulse of Boxing, and I'm your man Rob Scott. Still waiting on my partner Samad Haq to chime in, but this week we have a special guest. We have a longtime trainer of two division world champion, Gervonta Tank Davis. I have a Mr. Coach Calvin Ford with us. Thank you for coming on our show, Mr. Ford. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you? Glad to be here.
I'm doing good. For weeks, but this is our first opportunity to congratulate you on the win, that picture perfect win, the one that definitely I feel is one that's putting Tank on the map if he hasn't been on anybody else's map. Congratulations on that win.
Thank you.
I know we can sit and we can talk about Tank all night long, and we're going to get into Tank or what have you, but I definitely want to chime in on you, Coach Calvin Ford. Who is he, and what has he been up to in the sense of boxing? I know that you do a lot of stuff in the city of Baltimore, and I know that you have programs out there. Tell us some of the stuff that you've done, that you're doing right now, with, especially with these kids.
Well, right now we are trying to get our gym right back open up in Boxing on Pennsylvania Avenue on Baltimore, Maryland, Parks and Recs. Because we are under the city umbrella, we have to be careful of making sure that none of the people or the kids get ill inside of the building and whatnot. So we have to come up with a program and a action plan on actually how can I be able to get the kids in the gym and keeping them safe at the same time, because they scattered all over the place right now with nothing to do. And, it was like a safe haven for them of the time that they're in the gym, and then when they get back home, they're exhausted from being in the gym. They go home and get some rest. But right now, a lot of parents is calling me saying that their kids are going crazy. They miss the gym. Guys that, can't make it to my other gyms that I go to. They saying, man, they miss their house, they miss their home and whatnot. So, the gym was like a safe haven. It was a time for people to actually, get away from the what's going on in their life and whatnot, come to the gym and work some of their frustration off or burn some energy to actually, feel comfortable about themselves.
I know that you've been Tank's coach since you was what, 7? That's a long time. But how long have you actively been training?
Well, we've been doing this. I've been doing this since 1979, 79, because we actually started at Her Run Parks and Recs first. It was another gym in the city, Books Before Hooks. Marvin McDowell had the youngest boxing team in the city, but before that we had Operation Champ, before then, with Reggie Gross and Warren Boydley, a friend of mine that's running the Mac Lewis program on the east side. So me, myself, I got into boxing through Mr. Leon Fitzgerald when I came home from prison, doing 10 years with the feds for racketeering and conspiracy. And I just had to find a better way of still getting that excitement, but, trying to live a wholesome life and whatnot. So Mr. Leon Fitzgerald said, man, I like you. The kids like you and whatnot. I was just trying to get the same love that I wanted when I was young, to give back to them. And Mr. Leon said to me, he said, "Man, you got a niche for kids and whatnot. You know, I need a guy like you." And the rest was history.
Well,
Well,
Coach.
it's obvious you got to. Oh, you back? Are you here, Samad?
Oh yeah, I'm right here. Can you hear me, gentlemen?
Okay. Oh yeah, I
Yes.
can hear.
Beautiful.
You.
Coach, man, first of all, let me say the same thing that Rob said, and I want to thank you from the basement of my heart for taking time out your busy schedule to come on this show. And as you speak about the history of how you got started with the kids, how did you get started?
Well, I had a friend named I always and in the streets I was known for either kick your head off, whatever it takes, you know. When we was coming up, you had to know how to throw your hands. If you didn't know how to throw your hands, you know, you was gonna get it. So when we was coming up, it was all about letting your hands go and whatnot. Friend of mine was Warren, but Reggie Gross, he's doing a life sentence right now. He the one really got me to start boxing. He was
Mm,
watching me when I was overseas jail, hitting the bag. And he said, "Man, you really good with your hands, you know."
Reggie
Um,
Gross, he fought Mike Tyson, right?
yeah. See, and that's the funny part about it. Yes, Reggie Gross that fought Mike Tyson. He the one that really guided me to be interested in boxing because I used to kickbox and whatnot.
mm,
And in the process of that, when I went to the feds, I met this old coach. He was a Dominican, and he used to train fighters in the feds. But in the feds, they didn't let you
mm.
contact with each other, right? But sometimes he used to find a way to let us train. And he taught me a lot of stuff and whatnot. So he said to me when I was locked up during my 10-year sentence, he said, "Man, you should box." The time I got, I was like in my 30s, you know, and I said, "Not be too old." When I got home, started getting back to society, working and everything. Um, a friend of mine named Gary. This is how I met Mr. Leon. Came to me and was trying to get a job at Phillips Food. I was the youngest black manager that was working for Phillips Food, and he said that they just opened up a gym at Hearn Run when Hassan Rockman won the first title here in Baltimore. We only had four title holders that came out of Baltimore. It was Hassan Rockman, Joe Gantz, um, Vincent Petway, and Javante Davis. They the only four world champion holders that came from out of Baltimore. So when Rockman left Baltimore, Mayor O'Malley was from east to west to south. The only one they got off the ground was the one on the east side. So I wasn't familiar with the recreation park boxing program. You know, um, I bought my first house, and I was watching my nephew and my son in the basement on the bag, hitting the bag. And my cousin used to box. And I said to him, I said, "Yo, you taught them anything?" He said, "No, I didn't teach them anything." And so I went out to try to find a gym to put them in. And the only gym that was working with kids in the city was Marvin McDowell, Hooks Before Hooks. And so I didn't want to drive from the west side all the way over to the east side, back from the east side to the west side. It was been like too much driving. And so I remember Gary said that they opened up a gym and at Hearn Run. And I went there and met Mr. Leon. Rest was history.
Wow.
Um, I know that a lot of people don't understand how much boxing has saved a lot of fighters over the years from the streets, if you will. Um, uh, you are right there um, with these kids. Give us anybody who don't know, let them know the importance of how these programs and working or how they work as far as like getting these kids off the street, doing something better with their lives.
Well, I always say how boxing saved kids' lives. You got to remember, I met Reggie Gross. Reggie Gross fought Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? And then he's doing a life sentence. I always make this saying: um, if you got 1 feet in the streets, 1 feet in the gym, you're not going to be successful. How do I know that? I lost two kids from it. I had a kid named Angelo Ward that fought Terrence Crawford and Danny Garcia. Gave them both great fights in the amateur. And when they seen me, and the first thing they asked, they said, "Coach, I don't remember your name, but I remember your fighter, man. They gave a hell of a fight." And they asked him where he was at. He was 6 feet under us, you know. Um, I know it worked. If you hear Javante talk about it, that the gym saved his life. We had kids 1 feet in the street, 1 feet in the gym. We watch him go to jail. We watch him 6 feet under. You know, so he been around this situation all his life, seeing kids go to jail, seeing kids get killed, you know, from the streets. I had another kid named Ronald Gibbs, love him to death, A student. His situation, he wasn't in the streets, but he would always take up for his sister. And one day a guy seen him, they got in a fight. He knew he wasn't going to beat him with his hands, and he stabbed him in his chest. Um, Javante learned from it, you know what I'm saying? Because he was doing things in the streets, you know, always helping his buddy out, going to fight and doing things. So them lessons, watching his friends around him that was good boxers in the gym getting killed, going to jail, made him stay in the gym. Another understanding I had, when we take these kids to tournament, you got like over 4 to 5,000 kids that's fighters at a boxing tournament. No violence. These inner city gyms, man, you got coaches in the gym like fathers, like mothers, like lawyers, like doctors, like uncles. You know, some of the coaches don't get enough credibility of the work that they put in, like some coaches that's in high school or in colleges. You know,
Great point.
you see that some of the stuff that they do for the kids. I mean, me and my partner, Coach Kenny, and Mr. Wilbur, that's my old head.
Yeah.
That trained the mind. Yeah, I always say that. I try to let kids know that I got old heads too. You know, I'm 56, but I have an old head that's older than me, been in the game longer than me, that I listen to him when he talks to me. That we have to start looking at these coaches differently, start putting funding in these programs, because the coaches, they come out their pocket. They buy them gloves, they buy them anything and everything that they need to keep them off the street, to keep them in the gym. Like USA Boxing, if it wasn't for the coaches, a lot of the kids won't even make it to the tournament, you know? And sometimes they don't have the funding to take them cross country, to take them to these tournaments and all this stuff. And most kids, when you take a kid to a tournament, it normally costs close to $2,000 to take one kid. If you got more than one kid that you're taking cross country, it takes a little bit of money to actually do that. And people don't understand it. I'm one, and that's why a lot of coaches love what I'm doing, because they watch me do it. They watch me take these kids in buses, in vans, cross country, and let them know that it changed their life. And Javante is one of the kids that it actually done it for.
Let me ask you this, Coach. Based on all these incredible experiences that you've had, do you think it's possible that you could, for lack of better words, create a seminar type environment to be able to teach your methods to the coaches that are here, and as well as the coaches that are up and coming, so they can be able to gain access to how you arrived at your success?
Well, I mean, everybody in every coach's situation is different. You know, I actually lost my family behind it. You know, so sometimes we get so addicted on what we are doing, you know, and certain situations are different. It can be done. I'm not saying it can't, but the obstacles that a coach had to go through of being a coach, I try to tell them it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. You get what I'm saying? You really have to love what you're doing and have a passion of what you're doing. I try to tell some of my kids it's bigger than boxing, to tell you the truth. What we're doing, coaches. Now I'm starting to see a lot of dads is getting involved with their sons, coaching them as boxing. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than boxing, because it takes a lot of time and money, and it takes your life to really, 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 really put it on the line to get that kid to that level. And the kid had to believe in the process. Like if you heard Tank said, he said, I'm going to win and I'm going to lose with my coach. Sometimes today you don't see the same kid with the same coach that he actually learned how to walk. And what I meant by learn how to walk, my old head Will told me that, is how to get in the stand, how to throw them first punches, how to move his head. You know, it's a lot of time and effort. It's like a teacher teaching a kid how to do that arithmetic. Which I mean, you put a lot of time into an individual, and the kids makes bad decisions, want to be in the streets, want to do this, want to do that. And then sometimes as coaches, we have to know the resources and the results why they making that decision of going left. Sometimes we don't understand. Is he eating at home? Is he getting a bruise at home? What's going on with that kid? And so you really have to really put yourself in their life. And the only way you can do that is by being around that kid and that kid trusting you and opening up to you. My daughters, I just had my daughters with me last week, all up for the first time, and they in their 30s. I had a chance to have all my kids with me and spend time with, and I listened to their stories when they talked to me. Like, I miss my dad because he was always doing what he was doing, but they didn't understand that was my way of keeping myself straight, keeping myself on the straight path, because I was teaching these kids that it's a way out of what they was doing. And Gervonta Davis is the first that came out of our gym that actually listened to the process.
Looking back over the years, Coach, is there anything that you'd have done different?
I can't say that, because when I look at it, my Lord put me on the right track to be where I'm at. So I must have been doing the right things, Do I regret anything? No, I don't regret. I'm still working hard. I still ain't reached my goal of what I'm really trying to do for the city of Baltimore.
And give us a glimpse of what that might be.
Well, I'm trying to create, like you saying, a path just for not boxing coaches, but for all coaches, to show that they can bring them talents out of these kids to be anything that you want them to do. And I take that concept from Floyd Mayweather and his family, Roy Jones and his dad, the Serena sisters and their dad, Michael Jackson and his dad. You got to get behind something, make them stick to it. I don't care what it is. If you get behind them and look at their talent, they can be a great chess player. They can be an artist. Just be supportive and pushing.
Now, I know that I mentioned earlier about how boxing has saved a lot of kids, but in some cases, boxing can become an actual band-aid as opposed to an actual healer. Because when I say that, I'm saying like these kids nowadays, there's more, I guess, millionaire young fighters nowadays than at any point in time in boxing. And how they say, if you're an idiot, $1 million is only going to make you even more of an idiot. I don't know about a lot of fighters as far as like being idiots, just internal idiots, but I just know that some who have people behind them, those are the ones that fall out of it. One of the things that drive people back is because of money mismanagement. How do you think that we can basically marry the two as far as like a fight?
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, a great fighter, but also being able to sit there and also be a great person in a sense of like being able to handle his money, being able to do things, because if you don't handle your money, guess what? You're going to be right back where you started from.
Well, can I say that? We have the same problem in basketball, football, and basketball. Them same problems, especially with African Americans. They are not taught these things from the beginning like European kids are. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do here in my city is put them pools around the kids. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not going to be a great boxer or world champion or make it to the NFL. But if we take the sports and bring them to the facility and then put them programs in place, teach them how to dress, teach them how to speak, teach them how to fill out applications, teach them the things that they need to survive in society, to become a great citizen. And for example, Floyd, he talks about it every time. And one day we was actually at the gym in camp. I got to the gym early. He didn't talk about boxing that day to the young fighters. He actually told them about the business side. And that's what really, really got me. You know what I'm saying? Because it was things that what made him successful and made him where he at today was putting the right people around you to actually be successful. And from us teaching these kids how to be great fighters, great boxers, that same concepts can come from teaching them how to handle their money, teaching them what to do with their money, teach them how to invest their money, you know? And that's what we need to be working on, putting these institutions in place in the city to actually help them achieve the same goals that other successful kids in society.
Wow,
Oh,
impressive.
that's very impressive. But you know, I touch on Tank. Now, you know, he is in a hot division right now. It's blue hot fire when it comes to that division, from my vantage point. And I think that though there's a lot of talent in his weight range. But the difference is, you know, I can name off names, Ryan Garcia, I can name off a lot of them. But the thing is, all those guys are champions in their own right. But within the past month, Tank and Lopez have become stars.
They
Hmm.
came to that amateur pedigree. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember his dad been in his life a lot of time. If you look at his all assets, you know, you see he got emotional about that situation that his coach and his dad. You know what I'm saying? You
Mhm.
know, and I remember the young and in the amateurs coming up behind us. You know what I'm saying? He hungry just like Javante. You know what I'm saying? Their path is one and the same but different. You know, um, if you look at Shakur, another kid, all of us came up together. All of them grew up together, coming up into that amateur. And I always say that's their DNA. You know,
Mm.
that's their DNA. Gary Russell was before their time. You know, when I look at his situation coming up in the amateur, made it to the Olympics, did get a chance to complete it in the same way as your amateur career is, the same way your pro career is going to be. But you got to have a good team around you. You got to believe in the process.
Well, let me ask you this, Coach. We know sometimes, and Rob knows he's been around the industry and as well as the art for a very long time, but we also know that sometimes the industry and the art collide. So some become lost in trying to gain access to money. Some become lost in trying to maintain their level of boxing IQ and things of that nature. How did you bridge the gap with Gervonta to navigate his career from the amateurs into the pros at this level?
Well, we came out the door teaching them as the professional boxer from the beginning. If you look at Tank, Tank was the difference between all of them. Ryan got that piece already. At the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, why would a promoter put me on this card? Y'all with
Hmm.
me?
Yes,
Mhm.
And you got to
absolutely.
remember, the promoter is in business to make money too.
Yep.
So if you're not
Hmm.
bringing nothing to the table, I'm not going to sign you. If you don't have that talent, I'm not going to sign you. So in the beginning, at the end of the day, it's still entertainment. It's still like being an actor. You still have to teach the whole. You have to teach the whole fist about it. You know, you have to be a fighter, but at the same time, you still have to be an entertainer. You
Hmm.
know, so in that process with Tank, you see his following. They was like, man, how does young kid have a following that he had? If you look at some
Hmm.
of the kids that's in my gym, their followers are big. Man, it's not outrageous, but if you see a kid got 3,000 followers and he only
Mm.
11 years old, that's big right now. So you got to
Mm.
understand, if he 11 years old with 3,000 followers, and I said, they said, okay, how did he get that? And I looked when he started from the witch card, and I said, they said, Dad, if he get this age, he should have this amount of followers. He get this age, he should have this amount. So we building him now,
Mm.
and if he stick with it, he have a chance to become a mega star.
Well, like I said, at this point right now, the difference between he and Lopez and the rest of them is they're champions and they're known from boxing circles. But I think that the rubber has hit the road when it came to Lopez and Davis right now. With the sky's definitely the limit for them. Um, what do you think about the performance with us last week? Uh, what am I talking about?
Devin Haney,
Devin Haney. There you go. Wh- what do you think about Devin Haney's performance? He fought he fought his opponent thinking that should have been his coming out party as well.
it
You know,
should have been, but Gamboa disrespected the craft. Gamboa wasn't even nowhere in shape like he was with Tank. Am I right or wrong? Y'all watch the fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Then if you go back and look at Gamboa when he fought Tank versus when he fought Devin, it wasn't like he was just, man, I'm gonna just get a payday. I'm gonna keep it real. This is what I've seen as a coach.
Hmm.
Devin did everything what he was supposed to do. He trained hard for it because he knew he was going into a serious situation. He didn't really he looked at Gamboa as a threat. You know that he wasn't a duck. He did what he was supposed to do. But when you see the Joker that came to the dance and you see how he looked and how his performance, it made his performance look terrible too. Because at that time it was like, man, he supposed to walk right through him, and that was their plan to fight Gamboa to show to the world that they can do it better than Tank did. You with
Huh.
me? And then it didn't come out the way that they wanted because he got bad reviews. He won the fight. He got the W. Thank God he got the W because it would have really looked bad if he'd have lost and Gamboa was out of shape. You know what I'm saying?
But
So he
Gamboa
got to try it again.
was in survival mode, and a lot of fighters when they go into survival mode, it's hard to look good with a fighter like that, especially a fighter of Gamboa's
Tank
experience.
said that too when he fought Gamboa. But again, he still ended with a great
Hmm.
ending.
Yeah,
If you look at all this the part gets me when they talk about Romchenko. Tank was the youngest. He fought an undefeated champion. Nobody knew Tank and took his belt from him. Go back and watch that fight. Pedraza was undefeated. He beat Tevin Farmer. You
Mm.
with me?
Yeah,
So when you
yeah.
look at him, you sit there and say, "Dang, Tank is the real deal." You got Lopez fighting the baddest dude that they made in the planet. And I said it when he came on the side when Salido beat him. I said, man, he really ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? He switched over
Mm.
from being amateur all his career, returned pro. I said, they said he's going to get beat as soon as he get in front of the right people.
Hmm.
And Shorty was fighting. I kept saying he's going to beat him. He's going to beat him. And everybody kept looking at me crazy. I said, the only thing I'm worrying about is mental. And he came out there and did his thing. But it would have been a better fight if Romo would have started early. He started late. But I'm thinking, looking at it as a coach, he didn't want to run into his power. The first couple of rounds, he probably said he was strong and I don't want to go in there because he clipped me. You know what I'm saying? So he stayed
Right.
away. But it was
Yeah.
the wrong decision. And you see what the outcome was because at the late part of the round, Romo was coming on. If you really
Yeah.
watched the fight, he
Yeah, he
was coming
was.
on.
He was.
He was coming on, but it was too late to go into a decision when you already gave between 4 to 5 rounds up. Bam, done deal.
So let me just say this. We spoke a few moments ago about the industry and the art having these collisions. And when these collisions happen, situations like that happen. So what is your feelings on having undisputed and unified champions and all the different belts and sanctioning bodies that they have out there that allow these fighters to stay in position the way they do?
Well, I don't like stepping on the promoter's feet because that's how we eat as coaches and fighters. You know what I'm saying? They did this
Mm.
because they wanted to hold on to their cash cows. Floyd said it. Floyd said it the best. He put it out there. That's why I like Floyd, man. You know, he wanted him to do it the way how he did it. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing with basketball and football. They starting to water it down. Am I right or
Huh.
wrong?
well, I know one thing.
Well,
The championship belt, though. I'm one of those that I feel because I work with organizations, and I have to say that I never had a problem with the belts as far as like the certain organizations 1, 2, and 3, and okay now
Back in the day, it was only 4 belts, correct?
that's fine. But when you're talking about the franchise belt and when you talk about the super champions and things like
That's the
that,
problem. It ain't the 4 main associates that hold the belt, the sanction. It's not them. Remember, we had 4 main belts.
yeah.
Now we got so many different belts. It's a shame you don't know who's a champ and what a champ is.
And that's the part I'm saying, Coach. This is where the industry steps in and makes the field of play very uneven. What do you think we could do to kind of even out the playing field?
It's nothing that we can do. The only person that can really make that change is I think it's the 5 main. I call it the 5 horsemen. That's the 5 main promoters. They the
Okay,
ones that got to make the changes. To tell you the truth, because they control boxing. You with me?
I am.
You know, the way how I really want to see boxing, I would like to see them 5 main horsemen take their fighters and go against each other. You
Okay.
with me?
Yeah.
And then it'll make boxing
In
crazy.
every division.
in every division. You'll fight your team against my team. And then boxing becomes bigger than what? Because it's not organized like we get. It don't get the same thing we get with the NFL and the NBA. You know what I'm saying? But when you start talking like that, you start like promotional companies going against promotional companies. That's like Golden Boy. They just lost one of their main fighters, Alvarez. They gonna hurt from that one, you know, because that's what it is. If I got a fighter that can hold a company up, they keep them safe.
So what do you
And
think?
see, there's a good chance. I'm sorry, Samad, but there's a good chance. You know, my take on Canelo leaving Golden Boy is there's a good chance that Oscar's going to have to be forced to be, you know, kind of keep a tight rein on like a Ryan Garcia because of the fact of his stable is dwindling down. And
I agree with you.
And that's going to be
you can still make boxing exciting if you stop there, if you sit there and develop the rest of the fighters that you have in the camp. It's a lot of good fighters, but you got to fight. Fighters got to fight good fighters to be good fighters. Let's look at it. Nobody did Lopez. He beat Romo. Romo supposed to be the baddest man in the planet. Damn, he took his. It's like that movie we used to watch. You cut off the head, you get all their powers. You with me? Yeah. You know. So now he's in a good place. That's like when the two heavyweights, Joshua and what's his name, was supposed to fight, and that fight didn't happen. You know.
Which Joshua and who, Coach?
The heavyweight Deontay Wilder. Remember, everybody wanted to see that fight. Remember? Then look what happened to Joshua when he fought Louise. He lost the belt. That thing went from him. We ain't heard nothing about him. You know, them fights have to be made when the public want it.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing I wanted to touch on as far as like when I said that they're stars now, meaning Lopez and Davis are stars now. And so right after that, people are saying, oh, when are they going to get in the ring with each other? I think that it's a bit premature for that because boxing is not only a sport, it's also a business. And as far and you have
I don't look for them two to get in the ring right away because they just did two major conferences in their life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's coming. I mean, it's coming. It just, like I said, it's up to the five horsemen to get together, sit in that big room, and hash all that stuff out that we don't get to see behind the scene.
So now that the COVID situation has leveled the playing field throughout the sport of boxing, what's your feelings on boxing coming back with a fan base situation, Coach?
Man, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Leonard sit me down. And I was actually on both sides because Lorenzo fought on Top Rank. Okay. The promoters, man, had to spend a lot of money, man, to actually keeping them athletes and everybody that's dealing with the fight safe. Because I always tell Gervonta this, and that's why he had to do his job. Okay. Millions of dollars are being spent before the fight even actually happened. So if I got a main event, and we have been seeing this in some circuit sessions, that when you got a main event and the fighter gets sick, the fight can't go on. All the money that revenue was put into that fight went down the drain. Now I got to take another fighter to fill that spot. It takes the luxury from it. The fans are upset. The people that spent money is upset. The network is upset. So, you know, this is very serious right now. When look at the NFL, look at the college football. When players and coaches get sick, man, I mean, it stops everything, you know. So we really hurting from this pandemic. I don't even call it a pandemic. It's like something out the scripture of the Bible, a plague, because it's hard for them to find some type of antibody to actually deal with this disease. You know, with it. It's hard.
Now the one thing is the fights that have been taking place, like namely like Lopez and Lomachenko, that fight was held with, you know, a very small venue, very small audience. But you guys had your fight at a bigger venue, still not hundreds of thousands of people, but at the same time, you know, you had what is it, 10,000 people that were allowed in?
They allowed us 11,000 people to be in the arena to make sure they stay safe. We actually got close to 10. We got 10,000 there.
Huh.
Yeah. See, now see that's something that I think that should probably come back more as far as like you know, I guess limit the audience, but you know, audience. I know for a fact that the audience is dying to get back out there, and
They got to do something. I'm telling you, but at the same time,
but
that
they be dying.
situation helped the airline, it helped the hotels, it helped the rent a car, it helped the Uber people, it helped the restaurants because people want to come out and enjoy themselves.
But that's a regional variation. Would you not agree, Coach?
But at the
Because
same time, we got to keep them safe too, because we don't want to lose lives neither.
but most of the fights at that level, it's a regional
What you say,
variation.
Samad?
I say it's a regional variation. I might have lost audio. Hold on for a minute.
No, I can hear you.
We can
We
hear
can
you.
hear you.
I think that it's a regional variation because there are a number of fights going on in the South, in Florida, South Carolina, uh, and the areas where there's an environment for that. They can have open air fights, which will allow them to have as many as 10,000 people in the event. You're not going to have that happening at the casinos in Connecticut.
No, you're not. You're not. You're not. Yeah, and you're right about this. Where they actually have the fights at, what city or what place is allowing them to have that cushion to actually do
Right.
them type of events there? Because some areas not spiking like some areas are. You with me?
That regional
Let's go back.
variation.
Let's go back and they sit there and say, "Well, the corona is going to die because of the heat." That didn't happen. It's
No.
going to get cold now. Now we got the flu season coming, and
Yes.
that's why we having a lot of spikes now. Because is it the flu or is it the corona? You know?
I think that some people are just uncertain. So, some areas of the country where the uncertainty is lower, you might see a spike. Where some people are much more conscious. I think all those things lend a hand to how people are associating themselves with it. And I think it was a smart move on the industry's part to create the bubble. The bubble might not be the fix all, but it's certainly slowed a few possibilities. I hear rarely have I heard about cases of athletes, maybe more than 5 or 6 athletes, being tested positive for COVID before an event. So I think the industry did a great
Yeah, that's.
job in that regard.
I agree with you because man, I should have been a test tube baby, man. Because they test us. They tested. Well, let me explain to you. Mayweather Promotion tested me twice a week. Then when I went and took Lorenzo to fight with Top Rank, as soon as I got to their facility, went in their facility, before I could lay my head down, they swabbed me. When I got up that morning, they let me know my results. You know,
Wow.
Mayweather Promotions took my antibody. You know, because I actually got sick before I went in camp. I thought I wasn't going to be able to be in camp with Tank. You
Huh.
know, so yeah, I mean, I had to. That's why I say it's very serious because I went to a fight in Valencia with Lorenzo and got sick on the plane in the beginning stage. I was all right. I didn't have no bad symptoms because I work out. I just couldn't shake a fever. I had a fever that I just couldn't shake. I didn't have a cough. My chest didn't hurt. I still was doing my push-ups. I still can run. I still can do certain stuff,
Huh.
but I just couldn't shake the fever. And then when I sit down and talk to other people that actually caught it too, their symptoms was different. You know,
Huh.
I mean, everybody's symptom wasn't the same. Some people don't even have any symptoms. Like a friend of mine, he never had it. He said, but he got the antibodies, and we was trying to figure that one out. He said he never was sick.
Huh. I think that's another part of that uncertainty issue because if the person who's asymptomatic can still transfer it, but yet not have symptoms, that's a little unnerving because you really never know.
Yep.
Well, Ryan Garcia's fight is just been postponed because of his opponent testing positive. I mean, and it's gonna continue to happen. But like we here in Atlantic City, we're dying to get the doors back open so we can see how it turns out here as well. Um, but Ryan Garcia was one of the guys that we were looking for Tank to be in there within his next 1 and 2 fights. But now it's delayed. Um, what are your plans now? I know you don't want to ask. The fight, his last fight just ended, and you gotta take some time to get your thoughts together. But right now, would you like to see him in the ring with next to keep on that course? That
Let me explain. This is what I do. If it doesn't make dollar sense, it
Don't
doesn't
make
make sense.
sense.
If you listen to all my interviews, that's what I say.
Yeah,
And another
yeah.
thing, I do not get in Floyd way or our way.
Huh.
Once the contract come past our table, and this is who we fighting, it's a hit. That's how we carry it.
Hmm.
We don't call nobody out. We don't ask. You know what I'm saying? We do what we're supposed to do. That's what we train, put our best in, so make sure we be the best guy to show up that night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, with your division being so packed, I mean, like I said, I'm up a bunch of names, but let's just say hypothetically, we had a lightweight, junior lightweight. No, you're going to say that Tank is going to be in that ring in that final bout, but who's his opponent?
Just said again, it's about the dollars. This is how I look at it. A fighter go out and put his life on the line. One punch can change your life. You with
Yeah.
me?
No,
When we look at everybody goes, oh, Tank switched gloves. If you know anything about championship fights, you get 2 pair of gloves.
Yes.
In a sense, if Tank would have hit him with them Grant gloves on, I don't know how the punch he would have took the punch with the Grant gloves on versus the winter gloves. You with me?
Yes. Because the
So what I'm
construction.
trying to say, what I'm trying to say for that, man, what's going to make the fighter feel comfortable going in the fight for us financially. You know what I'm saying? And he take the
Mhm.
fight. That's the best fight for that fight.
well, but I'm speaking more from a competitive standpoint. Basically, I guess the question I'm asking you is, out of Tank's future opponent, prospective opponent, who do you see being given him his toughest test?
Well, it's based on who want to take the fight from Tank and what amount of money do they want to
Yeah.
take. I
Yeah.
just keep it real. Tevin Farmer was
Yeah.
in a situation to fight Tank, and they offer him a nice piece of money. Ain't nobody giving away no $1 million. You know what I'm saying? And he
Right.
choose to fight. What's his name? Damn, I forgot his name. Tevin Farmer lost to him, and he lost his
Yeah.
belt to him,
That's
and he could
true.
have had a bigger payday.
Ah.
You with me?
No, I
Yeah.
feel you.
They choose.
So I'm saying,
That's a
he
tough
lost
one.
on both. He lost on both sides. When he could have took Fort Tank, that the fight that both of them built, to tell you the truth. You get what I'm saying? And
Yes.
got a bigger payday.
Mm. So you think
Now
that
he's out the
you
equation then.
you think that fight
And he
might
worked
might come
hard to
around?
get in that position. Huh?
You think that fight might come back around?
No, because he's not in the equation no more. He lost his
Huh.
belt.
Oh
Everything that
man.
Tank asked him to do, the boy did it. You with
Huh.
me?
Yes.
And when he fought, what's his name, for his belt and lost his belt, it took him out the equation. You with me?
Yeah, I am.
So now the way how I look at it, jokers that's champions should be fighting champions. Because that's what's going to bring the money to the table.
Well, they say eagles don't fly with pigeons, you know.
You said it.
Well, Coach, I know that Tank, Tank has he lost his belt on the scale during one fight.
Right.
Um,
Look, listen to what you just say. He lost his belt on the what?
on the scale,
Scale.
yeah.
Nobody didn't beat him.
No,
Ah.
but my question to you is this: at his height and his build, how far do you see him going up before it's all said and done?
Man, if Tank put his mind to it and do what he's supposed to do, he can float around 30, 35.
Huh.
Bottom line. And if he would have did this earlier and stay focused on his weight and did what he's supposed, he could have fought 26 and 30.
Huh.
But now he's past that weight now. He got to fight in between 30 and 35. As he get older, then he can go from 35 to 40. Don't know how his power going to translate. You with me? But his skill level, he can handle himself.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you this, Coach. Let me go backwards to go forwards. You've had a lot of opportunities to go with anybody in the industry that you wanted, I'm sure. What made you finally decide to go with Floyd Mayweather?
It was the right fit, to tell you the truth, because when you look at Tank manager is Al Heyman. Bottom line.
Okay.
He couldn't go to Golden Boy on the promotional side. He couldn't go to Greg Coleman. I'm naming names that was out there, was promoters that was promoting at the time. He couldn't
Okay.
go to the zone wasn't even on the scene at the time. They came in after when Tank was making this move to go with Floyd. Who else was there? It was Golden Boy, and he couldn't go to top ranks because they was basically messing with more um Latino fighters then. You with me?
I am.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, the best fit was Floyd. And then
mhm.
we had a history with Floyd because Floyd Tank, my first time coming into and come, with Floyd and them family, Mayweather family, when I met his dad, you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
at the Powers. Floyd dad said said to me when Tank won the Powers, him and another kid named Ramos, Kareem Martin. Floyd
Okay.
dad sit down and watch Tank. Went through the whole tournament, got up, shook my hand, and said, "Man, that's a bad kid." It was them two, Kareem Martin and Javante Davis. And then Tank went to DC and he met Floyd, and Floyd signed his phone, next champion, on his phone. Did you hear me? You hear what I'm
Yes,
saying?
absolutely. We hear you.
Signed his phone. That was like when he was fighting Madonnas. You understand? And then
Yes.
one year I took Tank to Broner's house. I was going to a tournament. I was going to a tournament, and I knew he liked it, Broner. I sent Tank to Broner. Tank stayed down with Broner camp and everything. He tried to run away from home. But so far, my man Mike Stafford said, "Yo, don't mess with Coach, man. That nigga crazy. Give his
he tell
kid back to him.
he tell you
Give
better
his kid back
be
to him."
he be better be more careful, huh?
Yeah, so we gave his kid, and that's how tight Broner and Tank came. And one day, Tank and Broner went down Floyd Gym, and the rest was history.
Wow. Well, it seems like what you said is incredibly true. The energy is superb, and it's obviously that he's on the right track at the next level of greatness. And you certainly have provided him that particular space, and the continuity between you is something to marvel at, Coach. I salute you.
I want to thank you. Thank you.
Yes, it's an incredible feat, you know. And we know that there's probably who knows what the next levels are going to be, but we are pregnant with possibilities, and I'm just looking forward to the future of what you're going to do next.
Well, just keep working hard, man, and keep my feet under my keep my feet to the ground. Keep my feet
Yeah.
to the ground because sometimes you can get overwhelmed and really forget the real purpose of this. And the
Mm.
real purpose of this, man, is hoping that I can keep changing lives before I leave this world.
Well, you've obviously been a success at doing that thus far, and I can't imagine that being derailed by anything or anyone.
Well, and that's gonna be hard to be derailed because of the person that he has with him. Uh, Javante is a very talented fighter, and bottom line is he's definitely the future of boxing.
Well,
Floyd said it.
yeah,
Floyd
yeah.
said it.
And coach, before you go, I wanted to say to you, that back in what they call the day, on my days in Baltimore, there was a young man you might know. His name was Leroy Taylor. Do you know Leroy Taylor?
Yeah, I remember Leroy
Yeah,
Taylor.
yeah.
Yeah,
He
he
was
was
a
the
great.
baddest kickboxer around. Actually,
Yes,
I came up the
sir.
same school of thought that they came out. That
Uh
was a
huh.
bad man. Ain't no question
Oh,
about that.
yes, sir. We used to run together back in the day.
Yeah, Leroy was a bad man. He'll kick your head off, break you up, chop you up, and everything.
And
Um,
he was very quiet with it, right?
Brian Clark, Leroy Taylor, and you got the Hawkins family. Remember the
Yes,
Hawkins family?
absolutely. Because I used to
Right,
be,
yeah,
I
yeah.
used,
That's why that's why them days you had to know how to throw your hand. I don't care
that's right.
what lose the draws. I don't care who it was. You had to know how to throw your hand.
'Cause we used to sit in
That's
front of
real talk.
We used to sit in front of Shabazz down on North Avenue, man. And that's where we
Mm.
used to
And you just took
stay.
me way back with that one, man.
Yes, I'm trying to
You
tell
took
you,
me
man.
way back with that one.
but
Yeah, I
but
remember them days.
we want to make certain that we spend an enormous amount of time thanking you. And I know my partner Rob, we certainly appreciate you taking the time to do this, and that we've been powered. The pulse of boxing has allowed us to have an opportunity to sit down and talk with the great ones like yourself. So thank you so very much.
I appreciate you. Thank you too. You have a great night.
Yes. Likewise, Coach
I'm
Rob.
doing coach. Best of luck in the future.
Thank you. Keep in your prayers. That's what I'm asking for.
Oh,
Well,
no doubt.
I know one thing, Coach, that the universal God has a blessing with your name on it, man. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. I hope so. I'm just trying to correct my wrongs before I happen to leave this world.
Yes. Well, peace and blessings, and we'll stay in touch.
Thank
And
you.
I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you again.
All
Have a
right,
good
man.
one, Coach.
You too.
Great talk with Coach Calvin Ford. Samad, you still there? Great talk with Coach Calvin Ford. Very informative conversation that we had. He's the coach of Javante Davis. Tank Davis is one of the pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world, and he's a pound for pound coach in Calvin Ford. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and tune in every week. We got powerhouse guests every week. We're gonna throw something else at you. For my partner Samad Haq, my name is Rob Scott. This is the Pulse of Boxing, powered by the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. Definitely tune in or log into our Facebook posts, our YouTube, ACB, HOF, Twitter feed. Um, Definitely reach out, look out, because we got a lot coming. All right. Pulse of Boxing, Rob Scott, Samad Haq, every Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Mike. Well done. Great show, Rob Scott. Great show.